Welcome to my video. Alright, this is a scene from X-Men film series, and there is Magneto, a devil character of the film. He can move and crash cars like this. Because he's a mutant, having a magnetic power, and cars made up from iron. Magnet can pull iron in many sizes, such as big as the cars and trucks in there, or even in the powder sizes, in a very small sizes, like this one. Yes, the iron powder still reacted towards the magnet down there. So, humans also have iron. When we consume iron-rich foods like bananas, spinach, fish. So here comes the title of my video, What if magnet can pull human? Let's talk about iron physiology. Iron is an essential element that we need to perform many physiological processes. So we get our iron by eating food. Our daily dietary required amount of iron is between 10 to 20 milligram. So I am drawing iron as Fe3+, because the chemical symbol of iron is Fe. When the iron we consume goes down our stomach, it will travel to the small intestine where it will be absorbed. Before that, we have to know in our bodies we have two main forms of iron, Fe2+ and Fe3+. Fe2+ as ferrous iron and Fe3+ as ferric iron. Anyway, let's go back to the small intestine. I zoom in here so we can have the lumen of the small intestine. I'm drawing the intestinal cells now, which are known as the entire site. So, iron is traveled through the stomach and arrive in the lumen of the small intestine. It is in the form of ferric iron, Fe3+. Because this is usually the form it comes in when we take or consume iron. But the thing is, we cannot actually absorb iron in the ferric form. It has to be converted into ferrous iron. So, what happens here is we have an enzyme on the top of the entire side of the apical surface, known as vitamin C ferriductase. To add to this, on the apical side, we also have the iron transfer, known as the divalent metal transporter 1 or DMT1 for short. This is the co-transport of iron. So the ferric iron gets reduced by vitamin C ferriductase to the ferrous iron, and in ferrous form, it is able to be absorbed by the entire site through the DMT1 channel, as DMT1 is a co-transporter. So it is also taken in. What happened to this ferrous iron? The first iron can be oxidized back to ferric iron that is stored in cells as ferritin, Fe3+ or ferric iron. The ferrous iron Fe2+ can also be transported to other cells around the body, to the liver or to the bone marrow. Iron leaves the cell through the basal surface through a transporter called ferrotropin or 1-1. Iron has to be converted to the ferric form in order to be transported around. So once outside here, an enzyme has done converts the ferrous form into the ferric form. Here another drawing is the circulation of blood. We can find the major red blood cell here, erythrocytes, and we can also find many protein carriers. One such protein carriers that we have to know is called transferrin. When transferrin is not bound to anything, it's known as apotransferrin. But the role of transferrin is to transport iron around the body, as iron is unable to travel by itself. So here we have transferrin bound to ferric iron and carry it around our body through blood. What are the fates of these ions will be? They have two main fates. Most of iron goes into erythropoiesis in the bone marrow. The production of red blood cell, about 75% of the iron absorbed goes into the production of erythrocytes. So here we have erythrocytes with transferrin receptors. Why does red blood cells need iron? Because iron is used for hemoglobin to carry oxygen, and once iron is used by the pre-red blood cell, the pre-red blood cell then can become mature red blood cell and enter the circulation. Transferrin can also transfer some of the iron, about 10 to 20% to the liver. So the transferrin will bind onto the transferrin receptor, which will allow the iron to enter the liver, and then the iron can store in, if you remember, in the ferric form as ferritin. So now you already understand that in human body we do have iron. So what happens if magneto pull out all the iron inside of our body? Just like this scene. If you are afraid, do not look at it. It's extremely horrible. So the iron from the blood circulation all comes out as the magneto calls it on. So here all the iron in our body. See, it really does iron. But I don't think it's true after all. Let's do some experiment to prove it wrong. Mix up water with food coloring to represent blood liquid, as when we put the iron powder into the liquid, it will stuck and block the circulation at where the magnet being placed. If it happen, could be a bad thing for our body. But actually, iron is not present like this powder in real blood, because iron exists as part of the metalloprotein hemoglobin that can be found in red blood cell for carrying oxygen and removing carbon dioxide. For comparison, half of blood is water molecule, H2O, with 1 hydrogen atom and 2 oxygen atoms. For hemoglobin molecule, it's a bit complicated, which containing 2,952 carbon, 4,664 hydrogen, 832 oxygen, 812 nitrogen, 8 sulfur, and only 4 iron atoms exist in one molecule of hemoglobin. In average human body, iron is just about 4 gram with 2.5 gram in blood. So though these irons are magnetic material, let's take another experiment now with matches. Contain a little amount of ferric oxide. They does not really react, but on a sensitive water bath, they are slightly drawn towards magnet. Look carefully. If we set them on fire, something changes. It's the same amount of iron, but ferric oxide was reduced to pure magnetic iron. So not always iron have the same magnetic properties. It depends on the whole molecule. Even for this fork, it's reacted differently on which place that we test on. At the end, have tiny molecule that exchange crystalline microstructure, making it to be magnetic but not that pure magnetic power. Based on these tests, let's take a look on how blood reacts to magnet. If you're sensitive towards blood, you'll probably pick on the wrong video. Here are 3 liters of blood that we get from local butcher. Perfect blood, didn't they? So let's test it right away with the monster magnet. It's instantly strong magnet, but no movement has been observed yet. Now we use a smaller amount of blood on revealing water bath. As a constant for the empty container, everything seems neutral enough, no movement. It's time to carefully fill up the blood into the container without being messed. Here we go. Oh no, it seems to be repelled by the magnet. Let's confirm with a lithosphere magnet. Yes, blood definitely repelled by magnet. It's called a dimagnetic reaction. But why? There is iron in hemoglobin, right? Well, you have to understand sciences are not simply logic. Magnetism is an interaction between unpaired electrons moving in the materials. Paired electrons will sort of cancel out their magnetic dipole moment by having opposite spins in the atoms and molecules. Only unpaired electrons will have a net magnetic moment reaching beyond the atoms and molecules, so we can determine the magnetic reaction of an atom, molecule, or crystalline structure by counting the number of unpaired electrons in it. In hemoglobin, the number of unpaired electrons in iron atoms actually change depending on whether it is oxygenated or not. Iron atoms in deoxygenated hemoglobin each have 4 unpaired electrons, making it paramagnetic on a little attracted to magnet. The iron atoms in oxygenated hemoglobin turn out to have only paired electrons, no unpaired. So this gives oxygenated hemoglobin a dimagnetic reaction. It is repelled by a magnet despite the iron content. The ratio of oxygenated and deoxygenated hemoglobin is as what is shown. Most hemoglobin in blood is in oxygenated state, dimagnetic, and the other half, which is water, is also dimagnetic. So everyone, you don't have to be afraid. Magneto won't harm humans. We can never be defeated. But it's different if we were Wolverine instead, because Wolverine has iron claws that obviously can be controlled by the Magneto. Thank you for watching. Have fun!